Okay, Ren, good evening. Welcome. And finally, we're starting this officially. Ren,
Thank you,
can you please
Bookie.
introduce yourself?
Bookie, thanks for the opportunity. I'm definitely very happy to be here. To your audience, my name is Rene. On YouTube, I go by Ren with numbers because Ren is like first part of my name, and I say with numbers because I like to approach things looking at the numbers, not based on how I feel, but I try to read the numbers and see what do they see. So I call myself on YouTube Ren with numbers. I'm a Cameroonian who lives in Germany.
Oh,
I
interesting.
came to Germany in 2019, so it's been about 5 years. I came as a student. I finished my master's program in 2021, so 2 years after. And right
Mm,
after that, I went into my PhD program, which is what I'm currently in.
mm,
Yeah. So, on a nutshell, that's what I can say about myself. And I think to the relevance of this video, why Boki
yeah.
has me here talking about visas, it's because uh, while doing my PhD studies, I started to realize that bringing my family from Africa to Europe was very difficult.
Mm,
Other Africans I met had difficulties doing this, but
mm,
people from other regions
mm,
didn't go through the same hoops and same difficult challenges we had to face. And when I
mm,
encountered this, it triggered it piqued my interest, and I started looking into visa processes and the
mm.
things that are done for different regions. And because of that, I educated myself not by choice, but I
Yeah.
educated myself on a lot of things when it comes to visa processes. And I'm
Mm,
very happy to share the little I know today. I'm also keen to learn. So I'll
mm.
be happy to see your comments, get your questions, and get also your teaching.
All right. Thank you very much, Ren. This is very important. I agree. I can relate. Why? Because when I was gonna come here as well, I didn't really find so much information about, the processes, the family reunion visa, which we'll talk about
Yeah,
later. I didn't find some. I searched and I didn't get anything. Like it was just so, and I had a bit of delay coming here, so it was um maybe 6 months after I got here. Then I started seeing information online, and I started YouTube. I said, okay, I must talk about this, but then I'm still getting there. I must talk about this. Many people are looking for information, and sometimes you don't have an explanation for why something is like that, and
yeah,
you need to know what's happening. So I can relate a bit with regards to visa and all of that. Okay,
yeah.
so today, guys, we'll be talking about immigration. And as already seen on the flyer, if you have seen the flyer, we are talking about Germany immigration pathways. And for this particular topic, we're going to be talking about opportunity card versus work visa versus study in Germany, right? And these are the three categories we'll be looking at for today, and maybe hopefully something else next time. So now Ren is here. You have heard a brief introduction about Ren, how he came here and all of that. And he has now gone into research. He knows some of the things that are not so easy to know, and that's why we brought him here. Also, I've had friends who have asked me some of these questions, and we're going to be treating them here tonight. All right, so I would like us to just get right into
Exciting.
it. Yeah,
Yes.
so the first question, I think this is a conversation anyways, Ren. We talked about that
Yeah,
already.
yeah,
So yeah, I wanted to ask generally, you should like give us a background into what this the background to this. Maybe we should talk about like the reason Germany is allowing a lot of people in right now, and the
yeah.
different visa routes to come into Germany. And maybe with that you can touch on different visa types, and then we get right into it. We go deeper into it.
I think if I were to talk about the reason why Germany is letting people into the country,
Mhm.
because they are letting in a lot of persons, I think the reason would depend on the type of visa that you are talking about.
Mm,
The easiest to explain is the work visa or visas that are attracting skilled persons into the country.
yeah,
This is easy to explain because the German labor market needs immediately a lot of hands to keep it up.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
estimated that in 1 year they need about there are about 400,000 positions that
Mm,
need to be filled already,
mm, mm.
and they need a minimum of about 288,000 immigrants to come in to fill these positions
Please,
yearly.
please say that again. What's the number to be filled?
There are about 400,000 vacancies already that
Mm,
if the labor market, the economy we are to be ideal, we should be getting 400,000 immigrants into the country yearly. But the
mm,
minimum is 288,000 every year. So those are
mm,
the persons who need to come in now, and their effect needs to be felt now.
mm.
When we think of other visas like the study visas, then that's a little bit of a different story.
Okay.
Because when you come as a student, your impact is not immediate, but they're hoping that if you come as a student in the future, you can. And also it helps in their competitiveness when it comes to internationalization of
Yeah.
studies, like competitiveness of their universities. But
Hmm.
the easiest to explain, I think, is the
Yeah.
attraction of skilled persons from other places. The German population, there is a paper that came out, I think, just about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and the study showed that in Germany, the birth rate is at the lowest they've had in the past 10 years. It's been really dropping, but it's not as bad as it was about 12 years ago. And then it
Mm,
stabilized a little with the COVID. I think people stayed indoors a lot and they had a little boom. And now it's really down. So
mm.
their population, they are not getting, they are not putting to birth, they are not bringing new persons into the society as much as they need.
Yeah.
So there is this uh, hole that needs to be filled, and they have no choice but to attract immigrants
So
or hope
basically,
that
Georgia
immigrants come.
is reducing in population, and that's also explains why then there's a lot of vacancies. There are no people to fill them. They have lots of older people who
Yes,
are
yes, they have an
older
aging
people.
population. Yeah,
They have an aging population. So what
yeah,
aging means, very soon, if all these age people actually get to the end of their lives, Germany will almost be empty, and that's why they have opened their country to so many people. Hmm.
yeah,
So, and that's why they've opened, you said 400,000. I didn't even know the numbers. 400,000 and a minimum of 288,000
yeah,
positions needs to be filled per year. Is that only
yes,
work
yes.
related, or this also has to do with like student visa as well? Because,
No,
students
no, no.
now get to work and all of that.
This is just about the skilled hands they need in the country now, not persons who come and work in 5 years. The people
Right
who are
now.
needed in the country in 2024.
Yeah.
So that's
20.
out of the
Wow.
student visas.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
does that work for work visa and opportunity card, Chancenkarte
Yes.
visa?
Yes. Yes. It works for
Okay.
those. Yeah. It works for people they are trying to attract with yeah, the opportunity card was a means to make that easier, to facilitate this. You can see the
Mm,
German government is signing bilateral movement agreements with several countries. We saw this with Kenya, we saw this with Uzbekistan. They are making it easier that for skilled workers to come in. When I say skilled workers, I don't just mean persons who graduated from universities. I mean persons like bus drivers, persons to work in the quarry factories,
mhm,
persons to work in construction industry.
mhm,
So they need these hands in the country right away. And those are the numbers that I could lay my hands on.
mhm.
When it comes to student visas, it's a little difficult to get the proper expectations of what they want out of the student visas. But for
Mm.
work visas, it's easier to have these numbers, and these are the numbers that I've been able to see in the time I've been looking into this.
Mm. Interesting.
Mhm.
So, would you then say that why Germany is very popular for? I mean, why is studying in Germany popular? Is there a particular thing that they know how to do best? Why is it popular for international students? Because there are lots of international students here.
There are a lot. That's true. Can I can I be biased and answer from the reason, the main reasons why I picked Germany?
Okay.
Because I could study anywhere, but
Mm-hmm.
I picked Germany. The first thing that made me make this choice was that Germany, German public universities offer tuition-free education. This was
Definitely.
very important.
Yeah.
I don't come from a very rich background.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have to take care of my living expenses and on
Mm-hmm.
top of that pay tuition, which normally amounts to tens of thousands of euros every year, I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So for me, this was a very important factor. The fact that they offer tuition-free education,
Yeah.
though it attracts then a lot of brilliant minds. So
Mm.
that means it's competitive, but if you get in, it's really good. You don't have to pay this. So for me, this was it. I it I didn't have to pay tuition, and I just decided to
So
come.
free tuition brings a lot of international students. I know that there are free tuition in other countries as well, not just
Yeah,
Germany. And but I think this is what I think, that in those
yeah,
countries where they have free tuition, language is usually a thing that doesn't make people come. But that's like, maybe we'll get to that a bit. We'll get to that a bit. But then
yeah,
I also want to ask, so um I mean, we've talked about Chancenkarte, we've talked about why Germany wants a lot of skilled workers, which can be anything. But can you say a little bit of difference? What's the difference between like a work visa
yeah.
and a blue card visa? This is moving a bit away from, opportunity card now. So what's the difference between like a work visa and a blue card visa? What's the difference?
Okay, this is something I cannot explain very nicely. Maybe you have an idea about this. I can explain very. I'll say this. I've looked a lot at the German national visas, the category D visas. I've looked
Mm-hmm.
a lot into these ones,
Mm-hmm.
and I can I can really discuss very well what types of work visas are there and why
Mm-hmm.
one could be preferred over the other. When you talk about a blue card, I think the blue card, it comes after you've already after you gain. I don't want to massacre this or give the wrong information out there, but my understanding of the blue card is it's something that you need a contract for at least 5 years, or you must have worked in the country for some time, something
Yeah,
like this.
something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Sorry, Bookie,
So I'm
I
not
don't know much about the blue card
I'm also
situation.
not sure. That's what I'm asking. However, I
Yeah,
know that you need to have
yeah,
been working for instance, you have to be in so your visa is tied to your being here is tied to your work. So you have to be
yeah.
working for a number of months or years
Hmm.
before you can say, okay, you're outside of a you. I, before you say, okay, you're not working anymore. Does it make sense? So if you don't have a job, basically, if such a person doesn't have a job, they can't there's no reason for them to be here. My question, and I think that
Okay.
also works for a work visa, but I'm just wondering, I think a blue card is somewhat higher and that it's in different bands as well, and I think that a blue card visa holder earns more. So these are information that we need to find out. And if we don't find all those out, I would also find out and then leave it in the description box for this video later on for people
Yeah,
who
I it's a trigger point for me. I will definitely look into the blue card visa. What I would say is that
yeah.
though I can't tell you precisely what the blue card visa is,
Mm-hmm.
I know that Germany just reduced the to get a blue card, you needed real high proficiency in German to get this. I know they've reduced this. I know that to attract skilled immigrants too, they are reducing the requirements for a blue card. For example, just having a university degree means that you can already be eligible to apply for a blue card visa. So they are really making it so easy. The reason I'm cautious, I'm a little
Yeah.
reserved in putting this out there is because I saw this information when I was reading the summary from the German Indian partnership thing they had, I think, last month. And I'm not sure if this pertains just to Indians or to everybody, but
Also,
I know
international.
that generally they've made
Yeah.
the blue card easier. And my understanding of this was it's something that they've also stepped down the amount of money you need to be eligible for a blue card. But sorry, I can't give
Yeah.
precise figures on
Yeah.
this. I have to be
That's
a little.
totally fine. That's totally fine. So, talking about language, you mentioned language just now, and I wanted to
Yeah.
ask. So, now let's now go back. Remember, guys, we're talking about, we're trying to compare work visa, opportunity card visa, and a study visa. So, what are the requirements? What are the financial requirements, first of all, before we go to language? Do you know if there are any financial implications to, apply or, to be able to get any of these visas?
Yes, yes, yes. There are. But Boki, if I can
Yeah.
take a step back to first of all just briefly tell the audience again what these three visas are
Okay.
before I go into what
Yeah.
you need for these visas.
Please do.
She's been mentioning a work visa. This is typically the type of visa that if you want to enter Germany to, they call it gainful employment. So yeah, we want to enter Germany as a worker who will work and earn money. So that's a work visa. There are so many of these. It could be that you actually just have a contract in a company and you want to come and work for this contract. It could be the situation where you see nurses and healthcare workers, they have a little special treatment on their own side. Nurses come, they can undergo training and then from there move on to working. And it also falls under the work visas. You have even persons coming as au pairs, so as house
Yeah.
helps, they
Yeah.
also fall under this voluntary service. They fall under these.
Mm.
Then we have the Chancenkarte or the opportunity card visa.
Yeah.
This is basically a new visa. It was just introduced on. It was introduced in June 2024, so it's not even been half a year.
Yeah.
Was it June or July? I
June.
don't
It
want
was
to miss it.
in June.
It was
It
in
was
June.
yeah.
It was introduced in June 2024, and this is a type of visa that if you are a skilled worker, for example, you are a seamstress, or for example, you are, I don't know, somebody who works in agriculture, you are a specialist somehow. You can
Yeah.
apply for this visa with your specialist skills
Mhm.
without having worked in Germany, and they'll give you this visa to come to Germany. It lasts for 1 year, and within this 1 year in Germany, you look for work, you look for employment to
Yeah.
then take care of yourself. So that
Yeah.
is the opportunity card visa. It gives you the opportunity to come to Germany and then
Mhm.
look for work.
Yeah.
Then the third kind of visa we are talking about is the study visa.
Yeah.
A study visa is basically entering Germany as a student to study.
Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
Now, when we are talking about the
Sorry.
financial burden,
That if you
yes,
want, um, I mean, I think I have a video on something around study visa, how to come to Germany to study, and also a video or about the opportunity card. I'll link it and you can check for it on my channel. Please go on.
okay. When when we talk about the proof of financial burden, sorry, when we talk about the financial burden to get these visas,
Yes, any of
because
these
I
visas.
think that's the first requirement you
Mm,
mentioned.
yes. Then we
When
move to
when yes, yes. When you want to apply for all of these visas, you need to prove that you're able to take care of yourself. They don't
yes.
want
I'm
to bring you
happy that
in and you
for the-
and you depend
yeah,
on social security.
yeah,
Yeah. It's easy when you apply for a work visa because for
mhm,
a work visa you have a contract. If this contract can if it will pay you something that is at around €1,000 at least, I've forgotten the exact figure. It's 900 and something euros. If you get around this amount in your work that you'll be doing, that's enough. If you're coming in as an au pair, for example, the family you're coming to live with, they have to, in addition to giving you the invitation to come, they are going to sign an affidavit that they are responsible for your upkeep, something like this.
Yeah.
If it's something like for the nurses, you will have to, okay, for the nurses, you may need a block account depending
Okay.
on the kind of contract you have with the institution you're coming in for. But
Okay.
if you're coming the typical route where the persons who are doing the training to be nurses are paid, this is sufficient to take care of you when you come here. So for work visas, financial proof of financial viability is not so difficult.
Yeah,
For the
it's just
Chancenkarte,
so
yeah,
what you're saying is that if the company that is
yes,
employing shows that okay, or if you can just show proof of your salary, or is that what you're saying that they'll be paying you
yes,
and with
yes,
this I'm good?
yes.
Okay.
One of the documents you submit for a work visa is you submit a work contract signed by your employer and
Yeah.
you. And
Yeah.
in this work contract, they have to state
It's the
what
amount
you
you're
are going
earning.
to earn.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't think you're going to get a work contract that pays you less than what you need, the minimum amount you need. So if
Yeah.
you get a contract, this should be enough to cover your financial, at least take care of you while you're here.
Yeah.
For the Chancenkarte,
Mm-hmm.
for the Chancenkarte, the
Which is the opportunity card visa.
which is the opportunity card, you
Yeah.
have to create a blocked account.
Yes.
It's two ways. You create a blocked account, or you get somebody, it could be a family,
Mm-hmm.
friend, or a family member in Germany to
Mm-hmm.
sign off that they are going to take care of you when you come to the country. And I
Mm.
think the figure for the blocked account is something close to 11,000 euros,
Yes.
or yeah, around 11,200 euros, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
Something around that. Yes. About
Yes.
11,000. Yeah.
And when I say you create a blocked account, it just means that there is a special bank account you will have to open and
Mm.
pay this money into that bank account.
Yeah.
And then every month, the bank is going to dish out a little fraction of this money,
Yeah.
about 1,000 euros, and give to you every
Yeah.
month. And
Yeah.
the money should last for the 1 year you are here looking for work.
Yes.
A
That's
similar thing
just so
for
that you take
students.
care of yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on. Yeah.
It's a similar thing for students also. Students have to prove that they are capable of taking care of themselves when they come to Germany. For students, I don't want to miss the date, but it's also a recent thing. I think last month it should be either October or September. The blocked account money for students, it was normally around 11,200. Now it's close to 11,700 because
Yeah. I
the cost
also
of living they say have increased.
yeah, that's increased. Yeah.
Yeah. So students have to block a little more money now, but it's basically the same principle. You block this money and you get a little bit chipped out to you every month, and you are supposed to live with this money. Or you get somebody to sign an affidavit for you. An affidavit is just a document that somebody signs and says, while you're here, they will take care of you. So you don't have to have money in the bank. They
Yeah.
will give you money if need be, or house you or feed you, take care of your insurance, whatever the case may be.
Okay, thank you, Ren. But I want you to talk a bit more about the blocked account because um so I still have people asking, I think
Yeah.
people don't really get the concept of the blocked account. So is it the same as like proof of funds? Because some people think that okay, they have to show that they earn that amount of money in their bank accounts and all of that, and then then I have to explain that oh, it's not like so, it's not like so. So can you just explain in just a few seconds how the block account really works?
Yeah, I can explain that, I think.
Yeah, thank you.
When we say proof of funds, they just mean proof that you have enough money.
Yes.
Now, if you come from a country like England, or if you come from a country like China or Australia, if
Mm-hmm.
you can prove, if you can show to the embassy that you work and you earn enough and you've saved enough in your bank account,
Mm-hmm.
they can give you this visa.
Mm-hmm.
Or you prove that your family have enough money saved to take care of you while you're here, they will
mm,
give you this visa. Unfortunately, this
mm,
courtesy is not extended to most African countries. In fact, I don't know any African country that is
mm,
able to do this.
mm,
They don't. I can talk about the situation for Cameroon. It's actually written in the embassy website.
mm,
There is no bank in Cameroon that that we trust enough to say you can keep your money there, and they will give it to you monthly. So you have to block it in Germany. And
mm.
this is a similar thing for most African countries.
Yes, the
So if
same
you
thing
want to
for
prove
Nigeria
funds
as
from Africa,
well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, I know it's the same thing for Nigeria too. If you have to prove that you have enough funds, proof of funds from Africa, you mostly will need to do the block account, which is going to be here in Germany, not in your country. It's going to be here in Germany. In fact, just a few banks in Germany are allowed to do that. You do it here in Germany, or you have somebody here in Germany sign that they will take care of you.
Hmm. That's amazing. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's
And we don't know why, but maybe we can guess why. Maybe we can guess why, but we don't know why yet. Okay, so moving
okay.
on. Let's talk about, yeah.
I'll say this when we start asking why, I've gone down that rabbit hole. It's really difficult to get a
Mm,
proper response why these things are different.
mm,
I've tried to do this. I've tried to write to people to complain. In fact, I wrote to all embassies in West and Central Africa, all, like, personally write to them, wrote to the Federal Foreign Office just to try and understand why certain things are so different for persons from this region. It's
mm,
really frustrating going down this direction. They they give you almost nothing. So it's hard to explain these things. It's hard. Some seem like, okay, I may guess why, but guessing is it's risky. You can't be sure that you're right with your guesses.
mm.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, then let's then talk about the language requirements. So I know that, so I don't know what the requirement is for work visa, or maybe
yeah.
depending on some specific jobs. And I'm smiling because I'm just really wondering how practical are these things. So okay, somebody is saying that she believes it's a way to reduce influx of people from the global south.
I
Hi,
I
Mide. Yeah, she's saying that she believes it's a way to reduce influx of people from the global south. Do you want to say something about that?
I could say something about that, but uh, my
Yeah.
my suggestion would be maybe we deal with the comments at the end, because if I start answering this, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure it's going to take 1-2 minutes to answer that.
Yeah,
But
because
if
okay, so hello guys. So if you want to comment, just I think try to uh say exactly what you're talking about, so that because we would have talked and then we will know at what point you are saying this. Does it make sense? So just quote, what you're talking about or something, what particular subject or topic, and so that we can treat the comments at the end. Thank you for that, Ren. So let's go back to language. Yeah. So
okay,
my question first of all would be, what are the language requirements and how practical really are they for each visa type? Are there language requirements for
yeah,
all three visa types we're considering today?
yes, the definitely are. First of all, the for somebody who is considering immigrating to Germany for whatever reason,
Hmm.
the first thing you need to understand is that the main language in Germany is not the main language is it's not English, it's German.
It's not
Many,
English,
many
guys.
yes, it's German. Many people can communicate to you properly in English,
Yeah.
but most of your legal things, it's really not so smooth if you don't speak German. And if you're coming here to work, most works will require some level of German. That
Hmm.
said, when we talk about language requirements, it depends on what you're coming here to do.
Okay.
Let me take the study visas for example.
Yeah.
If you're coming here to study, you have to prove that you are able to study without problems in the language that program is taught in. Many programs are offered in English. I studied in English, now I work in English. But
Interesting.
for
I was going
this,
to ask
I
that, do you speak German at all?
my German
Or
it's
did you
very
learn? Did you
Like
learn it? You've been here for
I'm
how long?
still I'm still learning. I've been here for 5 years.
Okay, you're still learning. Okay,
I'm
good.
still
As
learning
long
the
as you're
German.
learning, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. If you're coming to study in English, you have to prove that you are able to speak English to an acceptable level.
Yeah,
I think this may be the easiest thing to do. We have classic English exams that may be accepted. It's mainly about reaching the language requirements for that study program. When your university says that you are qualified enough to study, the embassy won't stand on your way in terms of language for this. For me, I studied in English and I didn't want to take any English exams. I
okay.
contacted my university
Yes,
uh,
yes. That
before
was
applying. And I called, I sent emails, I talked with them directly, and I said, I've studied all of my life in English. I've never had a problem in English. You can tell from our communication that I do not have a problem in English. Can I
mm,
just use my past studies and say, I've always studied in English, get a certificate from my university, and this works? And they
yeah,
said, good and fine. And I did
that,
that. So
yeah,
there are ways to get around it, but
yeah,
talk to your university. If
yeah.
they refuse, then you take the classic English exams that are out
What
there.
university are you talking about here? The one in your home country or the one here that you're coming to study in?
I got a letter from a university in my home country in Cameroon.
Okay, to the
Yes.
to the
And the letter
university
said that
in
I've
here.
always
Yeah.
studied in English.
Okay, super.
Yes. And my university here in Germany accepted that. And this was enough. So I
Yes,
came.
yes,
Now,
yes.
if your program is offered in German,
Mm-hmm.
most often to get a visa, they will ask you to have German B1.
Mm,
B1 level is generally not sufficient to study, but the thinking is when you come here, you will then step it up.
okay.
And
Mm,
if you are to do this with a lower level of German, the embassy will require that the university gives some backing for this. Maybe they say you will come, but you take this length of time before the study program to catch up on the German proficiency.
mm,
But for language and studies, I think that's about it. You need, if you have to do the English, I think you need like English C1 if you are doing the
yeah,
classic English exams, or
yeah.
German B1.
IELTS or
Uh,
TOEFL. Yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah,
And then for the Chancenkarte, that's the one with the easiest, I think, easiest language requirements because it's new and it's like a shiny thing they are putting in front of you, trying to really attract you. For this, you need very basic German. A1 is enough. And they say you need A1 or English. I think it's English B1.
yeah.
I don't
Something
know
like
what that
that.
is. So it's
Yes.
also a lower level of English. And you don't need to have both. You have one or the other.
My question then is it really practical? So what I mean is, so I feel like the requirements for the opportunity card visa,
Yeah.
for instance, if you need, for instance, for the Chancenkarte, you would need to, you can't, for instance, you can't go and get a university language proficiency that, look here, I studied all my life in English. You
Yeah.
actually have to write the exam
Yes.
and show proof that I passed the exam or present the certificate or something. Now
Yeah.
for the language for German, I don't know how practical it is to say, okay, I want to come here to look for a job. And we're still going to talk about the timing and all of that that it takes to get here. So I want to come and look for a job. Then I take the time to start learning German, but it's basic, like you said. However, the higher the language proficiency is, the better your chances. For instance, if you have A1, you get, let's say, 1 point. But if you have B1, for instance, your chances, your points increase. Do you
Yeah.
see? So
Yes. Yes.
it's shiny, like you said. So it looks like it's easy, but I don't know how practical it is to actually have all this. But I want to quickly talk about the work visa, and then say something more about the language. What's the
Okay.
language requirements for the work visa?
For the work visa, now that is a little different in that the language requirements are going to depend on the job requirements. For example, if your company says you're coming to work in English, the embassy will need that you prove you can speak English and you have to take the English exams. the English test for for professional purposes. There is an English exam for these things, professional
Mm.
English.
Yeah.
But if your company says you have to do this in English, you will work in English, then you have to prove that you can speak the English. It's tricky for situations like if you're coming to be an au pair. If you're coming to
Mm.
be an au pair, you don't need proficiency for this.
Yeah.
I think it's more about the family saying they are okay with working
With
with you, something like this.
yeah.
If you're coming here for nursing, you need more German proficiency.
Yeah. And
But
medicine, for instance.
yes, in the health sciences in general. For
Yeah.
work, I would say language in general, they require something from A2. This is me generalizing, something from A2 to
Mm.
about B2 in German. This is
Okay.
enough for most of the work visas. And this is just statistics for what I saw in Africa.
Yeah.
For this purpose in particular, I didn't look
Mm.
into other regions to see what is needed of
Mm.
them. But for
Mm.
sub-Saharan Africa, I saw if you have around the minimum for things like voluntary service and some work contracts is from A2. And
Mm.
in some cases, I saw they said you need at least B1.
Okay, so for what contract is A, let's say between A1 to B1, and it also
Yes,
depends on
A2 from A2.
A2 to B1, between A2 to
Yeah.
B1, and it also
Yes.
depends on the kind of job you're coming to do, whether you need language to work with, to
Yeah.
do your work or
Yeah.
not. For
Yeah.
the opportunity card visa, you need a minimum of A1,
A
and then
minimum of A1.
yeah. So, but what about the study visa? Okay, you talked about that. It depends on the course you're coming to do as well. So, if your
Yes.
course is in English, you just need to either prove with a certificate or with something, a letter or a certificate from your university saying that you actually studied all your life in
Yes.
English. Yeah. Can I just
Yes.
ask a question though?
Yes. Yes. Please.
Language is spoken in Cameroon. Is it not French?
Cameroon has two official languages.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yes.
I thought it was just
There
I thought
is
it was just yeah.
there is French and there
Yeah.
is English. But please don't speak to me in French because I will probably swallow my tongue trying to say a word in French. So
Wow, so it's not
there is
compulsory.
no. You don't have to speak French and you don't have to speak English, but you should speak either of the two.
Oh,
I personally speak English. My
oh,
French is not so good. No,
that's interesting. But you know something in French. Some of us don't. Some of
I
us
know a
don't.
few things.
Okay, so I was still going to say something about the language. So
Yes.
no, but maybe we should move a bit from the language because I want us to talk about to compare and see, okay, what really is the best way to come and how good is this? I mean, if we can also profile, okay, what kind of people would work visa be good for? What kind of people
Yeah.
would, for instance, so let me talk about the opportunity card visa. Now,
Yeah.
so okay, let's go to experience. So for work experience, it makes sense that you have a job experience. Does that count actually also for students who want to come and study? Because I know that sometimes you may need to submit your CV when you want to, as an international student coming to, is that right? Trying to come and
Yes.
study
Yes.
here. Yeah. So,
Yes. You need a
uh,
CV motivation letter. Yeah.
okay. So, how
Mhm.
practical is that as well? Because, for instance, for opportunity card visa, they're saying things like somebody needs a job, but the person should have at least, some level of experience. The higher experience, the higher your points. How
Yeah.
practical are these things?
I think that okay, when we talk about the language thing and the opportunity card, the opportunity card it's a point based system. They say you need at least A1 in
Yeah.
German, but
Yeah.
if you have A2, you get an extra point, which means a better chance of getting
Yes.
given the visa. If you have B1, you get 2 points. If you have B2 and above, you get 3 points.
Mm.
So for the opportunity card, the higher the language proficiency you have, the more points you can get, and the more likely you will, or the better your chances of getting this visa. Same for English. If you have English C1 or above, you get an extra point as well. Now for the opportunity card. So the better language you have, the easier your chances. When it comes to studying, I would say this: just if you want to study, please don't just read the requirements that are asked of in the embassy or by your study program, and just go with that. Have this habit, have the courage to approach this university and talk to them. These
Mm.
are very negotiable points. And that's why I said I made sure to bring the example that I came here not with, I didn't write a TOEFL, I didn't do the IELTS, I didn't take any of the classic
Yeah.
English exams, but all of my classmates did. And the reason
Mm.
I did this, I wasn't I did not have to do this, was because I approached the university and I talked to them. So when it comes to language and studies, I believe there is some level of flexibility there, but to what extent will be determined by how pushful you are in getting this, I think.
So seize the day, basically. If you need something, just,
Yes.
ask questions. Don't just go by what is written and all of that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is interesting so far. I just have a few more questions and then we'll take, more questions, and that will be it for the day. So in all of this, we have considered the language requirements, financial requirements. We have also talked about, maybe experience that you might need. So, what do you think is the pathway that, offers a better long-term career opportunity in Germany? What pathway? I mean, if I come to study as a
Yeah.
student in Germany,
Yeah.
does that guarantee me does that guarantee that I have, that I get the job if I come to study, or if I have my skills from Nigeria and all of that? Does that also guarantee a better career path? Or if I get a job from Nigeria, or I come to look for a job, would I get the job immediately? Which one works? Which one, helps us to know, okay, I'm on the right path?
Okay. Uh, Buki, permit me to approach it this way. Let me start by giving my, not, it's not really what I think. What When I look at the numbers, what I see could be, first of all, your best chance of getting to Germany. And I will use Nigeria as an example.
Okay.
Say in the late 2010s, maybe up till 2019,
Okay.
or looking at just 2019. In 2019, I think I have my notes here. I can look at them to make sure I get the numbers right.
Okay.
In 2019, Nigeria had 2,085 visas to come to Germany. Out of this, about 2,000 visas, 1,297 were study visas. So
Mm.
2% of their visas were given to students, and 11% of their visas were work visas. So this was the general trend in Nigeria.
So
But
according
after
to research, what
2000,
works more in Nigeria as at 2010? I don't know if is that still relevant?
that's what I'm coming to. For
Okay.
some reason, after 2019, Germany reduced drastically the number of students they take from Nigeria. I do
Why?
not have a reason for this, but imagine they moved from 62% visas, so about 1,300 visas being given to students. In 2023, last year, they gave just 323 visas to students. So for
Wow.
some reason, they reduced the number of visas they give to Nigerians drastically. And the number of work
General
visas,
visas or student visas?
student visas. So initially, for Nigerians, the best and easiest way to migrate to Germany was to come as a student.
Study. Mm.
Now, it seems like it's a little more difficult to come as a student, not just a little. Imagine a move from, say, 1,300 to 300. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Meanwhile, the percentage of visas given as work visas has doubled from 11% to 21% of all visas last year in Nigeria. These were work visas. I just took these 2 years, 2019 and last year, to say that
Mm-hmm.
the general trend, it's it's not just for Nigeria. It's similar for Cameroon as well. It's almost the same thing. The only difference is that for Cameroon, the total number of visas given in Cameroon is still very high. For Nigeria, the number of visas they give is also reducing, but especially the visas given to students. So if you are in Nigeria, there is a study visa, you can apply for this. There is a work visa, you can also apply for this. I do not think your chances are getting better with the study visas. I don't know what the statistics for 2024 will look like. I personally know that I'm seeing fewer and fewer Nigerian students here. I can feel this myself. I think they're taking less. For the opportunity card, from June to last month, so from June to October, Germany had given out 2,500 opportunity card visas worldwide. 2,500.
I haven't seen any from Nigeria yet.
I couldn't see even one. The majority of these visas were given to Indians. Indians got 789 of these visas. So Indians are topping this list. India, China, and I'm forgetting the third country. They got almost all of the opportunity card visas. So I think that for us in Africa, the best chance of immigrating to Germany, it used to be to immigrate as a student. But now I think the best chance to immigrate now is to look for a work visa. Apply for one of the classical work visas. The opportunity card is very shiny. It seems very easy. But for some reason, it seems to be cornered to one part of the world. I've not seen, maybe there are just so few they are not included in the statistics. I've not seen people from Africa getting the opportunity card. Or maybe I just don't have the skills to dig that deep. I've not seen this. So I will keep encouraging my brothers and sisters from Africa to think back. Don't go for the very shiny opportunity card visa and just sit on that and think that is the only thing you're going to apply for. I don't know why it's not working or not working so well for Africans. Still work on the work visa thing. Germany is really looking for people to come in and work. And I think we still have a very good chance with these work visas.
Okay, so right there, I would then ask, what is this? So maybe we'll come back to this, but I wanted
Okay.
to say something about the timing. Can we talk about the time I don't know if it's the same in Cameroon, the time it takes to get these appointments. I don't know if you can see in the comment section, somebody is saying that it takes it takes 18 to 21 months to get an appointment. And I can relate with this. I didn't have to wait that long, but by the time I went for my interview,
Yeah.
the interviewer told me that at that time, which was 2022, that it was 13 months, that it takes
Okay.
13 months to get an appointment. So
This
you will
was in
get,
2022.
yes, you will get an appointment. Now it's 15 months or more. That's
Incredible.
for family reunion visa. I'm
Yeah.
getting something. So he told me, he said it takes 13 months. I think that's when you get an email to now, I think you get the email a month to the date and then you attend your appointment and all of that, the interview and all of that. Now, for work, I know somebody who, I mean, for student visa, it took, and they've tried, because sometimes they gain admission, people gain admission and don't get an appointment. So can we talk about the wait times? Is it the same in Cameroon as well?
The situation in Cameroon, it's deplorable, actually. Maybe not as bad as Nigeria, because I've also heard people from Nigeria tell me their story, and I'm like, oh
Oh,
my God, my mouth dropped. But
wow,
but
wow.
the situation is really bad.
Hmm.
When you look at the website, the figures are still not so bad. For example, when you look at the family reunification in Cameroon, they will tell you that you have to wait for 12 months to get an appointment. And
Yeah,
after
that's the
12
same thing on
months,
the
it takes
website.
12
But
months to process it.
what?
So you apply for 12 months to get an appointment. When you get it and go submit your documents, have the interview, they say, go again, wait for 12 months. So in essence, 48 months.
That's 2 years.
Yes, this is
Wow.
book it. If I can again bring it a little to me, this is one of the first things that triggered me to that pissed me off and make me to start looking into these things.
Hmm.
Where I started the, you know, as a young man, you finish your education, you want to build your family. I have
Yes.
a daughter. I
Oh,
finished my studies. My kid was 5 years old, just at the age to start education here in Germany.
yeah.
And you're thinking, yes, I've finished education, I've moved into the status of a worker. Let my family come now, so my
Yeah.
kid can also start her own life, enroll with her mates, and
Yeah.
and start going to school.
Hmm.
This is 2024. I started this process in 2022.
Are you
The
telling
only
me?
thing, the only thing
Okay.
we've done is the only thing we've done is there've been an interview, and we are still waiting. It's been 2 years. Her colleagues are going ahead. And what made me to even look into this was I had a colleague who started this thing, I think, like in May 2024. And by June, they were done and the partner was ready to come. I'm like, my employer started asking if I even did something wrong. And I started thinking, did I really do something wrong? Why is it so different? Both of
Hmm.
us have the same status. How can you take a couple of months to do something and I can't do it in 2 years?
Hmm.
So when it comes to the waiting times, the embassies have their timing that they put on their websites. When you ask them about this, the classic example, the classic cop out excuse you get from the embassies in Africa,
That's what
maybe
it
you
said.
get from embassies from elsewhere with their own problems. What you get is there is a backlog of so much we have to do, and we don't have the staff to do this. Initially, they blamed COVID. Everyone came out of COVID except Africa. We are still struggling with the backlog from COVID, apparently. When they will
Wow.
say, when I even looked at the Nigerian website, embassy website, they said for family reunification, it takes, I think they said 6 months, either 6 or 9 months. That's what was written there.
No, I think
But
on the
when I
web
talked
to
to the
get an
persons,
appointment, it's 12 months. To get an
yes, but the
appointment,
processing time, yes,
12. So I think on the website it's 12 months. The guy told me, the gentleman told me 13 months, but now I hear and I have seen people who waited 14 months to get here.
to get an
Now,
appointment.
to get an appointment. Now,
Mhm.
after the interview, after the
Yeah,
appointment,
yeah.
then within 3 months, usually you get a response to send in your passport or whatever. So within 3 months after that. So let's say together it takes between 14 to 16 months if nothing has changed.
Well, okay. That is even better than Cameroon. That's even better. That's better than what we are going through in Cameroon. Then
Hmm.
that's better. I've been through it all. Imagine having to explain to your little kid, because it's a little child. You explain today, they are like, "Yes, daddy, I understand," but tomorrow they forget the explanation, and you
Yeah.
again have to explain why you are away.
That's a
She
lot of
sees
time to be apart from your family. That's a very long time. That's
it's
a very.
it's
But can I ask, is
it's
it also
crazy.
possible to bring in your family as a student? Does that work
Yes,
as well?
it's possible to bring in your family as a student. It is.
But then what's the wait time? It's probably longer.
I family reunifications.
Yeah.
I think it. I've not seen students do it, but on paper, it seems to be possible. It might be difficult for you to prove that you're
Yeah.
able to sustain
Yeah.
your family when it
Yes.
comes
Yes.
and to get a proper accommodation for your family.
Yes.
But
Mm,
the difference between students and workers in bringing I've not seen statistics on this, and
mm,
I can't really say which one takes longer than the other. But
mm.
going back to the waiting times,
Yeah.
in Cameroon too, the time students have to wait is so long. I have, okay, last year, because students also, like, I help advise many students on programs to apply for.
Yeah.
Last year, the students that I know who applied and got admission, you've gotten an admission, your enrollment, say the program, you get an admission, say February, March, beginning of the year, and enrollment is in September. So you're struggling to get in the country before September and enroll for the program.
Mm-hmm.
And by September, you've not even gotten an appointment.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it says it's
Child
supposed
is.
to take 2 months to get an appointment.
Mm.
You get to September, you don't get an appointment, enrollment passes, then they give you an appointment in December. You go for the appointment and they say, okay, we can't give you a visa because you missed enrollment. And then they have to go through the same thing next year. And
Mm.
then many of them are forced to go to countries where it's still a little bit better, like Ivory
What
Coast,
people, yeah,
like
that's what people are doing.
Ghana, like
Mm.
Senegal. They are
Yeah.
still treating their files faster. And I,
Mm.
I do not think that it's a matter of too much work. I think it's a conscious effort to
Yeah.
to 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 control the number of students from certain countries.
Yeah.
Even
But
when
why
they see that on
though?
paper, yeah.
But why though? Because that's what she said here in the comments. She said it's a way to reduce the influx of people from global south. Why? I mean, if you say you open up your country to people and you have included the people that are eligible for this, I mean, you can just say, okay, we're not opening this to these people, and it's fine. But why would you say I have opened it up to you, and then you're now trying to treat it, and that's that. Why? Why? Does anybody know why in the
I'm,
comment section? Why?
I'm really trying not to speculate on these things and try to read their minds because they won't say it,
Can't do that.
whether for political reasons or whatever reasons. One of the things I was telling them when I wrote to them was, you may say that these things are fine and they are put in place to make it easier for us to immigrate. But that is not how this is not what we are feeling on the ground.
Mm.
You say you do this to make things easier for us, but we feel discriminated against. If it's
Mm.
actually that you don't want these people, say it out loud. Say you don't want these people, or at least state out a quota these people have to fill. If you say clearly
The-
that from this country we need
Yeah,
500 students in a
yeah,
year, and
yeah.
we know the 500 is already we've covered, we've used up our quota, then
Hmm.
that's fine. But when you leave it vague like this, we start guessing, and the mind is not going to guess positive things.
Mm.
Definitely.
Mm. Okay.
But
We've
I
talked
can't
about wait
say
times
that.
as well, and we need to run. So I'll just like to ask, so I mean, and I think we talked about that a bit, but and like you said, it's the same thing that this is sad that a person has a family, they're trying to reunite with their families. Because now, if a person gets a work visa, which is, seems like a good or better option, comes to Germany and tries to
Yeah.
bring in their family, it takes a long time. So what would you say is the best option? And then if the person, if one of the members of the family is a student, wants to bring the rest of the family, it's also, I mean, somebody is saying here that you have to double or triple your blocked account fee to be able to bring your family member as a student. I don't know how realistic that is when a student can only work 20 hours and cannot earn beyond beyond a certain cap. So what
Yeah.
would you say is the best for families or individuals planning to settle in Germany permanently
Yeah.
or not?
Uh,
What would you say is the best option? Work, study,
I do
opportunity for.
not have statistics to back this up, but I
Yeah.
will say what my observations have been, because I came to Germany as a student. I've
Hmm.
lived as a student for
Yeah.
2 years. I've lived the life after being a student for the past 3 years. So
Mm,
I have a little bit of experience
mm,
when it comes to being a student in Germany
mm,
and being in Germany as a worker.
mm.
And I'll say this, to me, Germany is still one of the best destinations for international students.
Why do you say?
Germany really treats international students nicely.
Wow.
When you look at things like accommodation for international students,
Mm,
it's very easy in Germany. Most international students don't even live in private housings. They are housed by subsidized housing for international students or for students in general.
mm,
This is really good. And an example to show how well Germany takes care of its international students. Let me take us back during the COVID pandemic. During the COVID pandemic, I had friends who were international students in other countries. We could not work. So you could not take care of anything. In the other countries, they were giving students food and a way to eat. I don't know what they did with their house rents. It was difficult for every international student. But what the German government did was they opened a scheme. This is a scheme available only to their children to get loans from the government with very low interest rates. They gave this and opened it out to international students. And this is how many international students were able to still survive. You could get a loan of, I think, up to about 10,000 euros, something like this, because of the pandemic. So Germany really does take care of its international students. I loved my life here as a student. It was a good time. I'm allowed to work. I worked as a student, and you can make more than what you need to survive as a student. So as a student in Germany, it's really a good life.
Yeah.
This, at least I give Germany I applaud them for this.
Yeah. Okay.
Now,
So, yeah.
now when I look at the life outside of studies, after studies, this is what I think. I don't know how it is for somebody who comes directly as a worker, but for somebody who finished as a student, then moved into being into the post-student life, this is where Germany is still lagging, or is still, I think they are not. It's not a satisfactory life for me and for the international persons I talk to, especially persons who come from Africa. The work is there. You are going to get a job. You are going to get a job, even if you chicken out of your studies. There will be work.
For a student.
The money will be there. Yes. But the things that are going to make you feel that your life is moving forward, they are extra slow in Germany. For example, getting a driver's license. In other countries, you get a driver's license in 3 weeks. In Germany, you can take 2 years and you don't have a driver's license. Getting your family to come and live with you, it's a really difficult thing to do. Well, maybe if you're from other regions, it's easier. But for sub-Saharan Africa, it's not. I hear Kenyans have an easy time doing this, and towards the south of Africa and the north, except Tunisia. But the remainder of us from Africa, it's really difficult to bring our families. When you think of things like you want to buy a car, you want to just grow and start a business or have extra sources of income, it's difficult in Germany. Did you know that many banks in Germany will not give you a loan if you don't speak German to their satisfaction? It's not that you have to present a certificate and say, I speak at C2. The bank employer will tell you, speak, and if I have the feeling that you have a proper understanding of the contract, then you will sign it.
Are you talking about this for students or for people who have
So,
jobs here, or is it a general thing?
I mean, when you are
The bank
working in
giving out
Germany,
loans, working.
student loans are different.
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to know what category of people we're talking about. I get you.
Yeah, I'm just talking now about, when you finish studies, you need to see that your life is moving forward. You're advancing in things, you're achieving this, you need to build your life at that point. These are the things that I'm saying. For me, at least, I felt that, or I do feel that these things make things very slow. My
Okay.
colleagues who finished and went to Canada, they seem far ahead of persons here.
For real. For
Yes,
real.
they do, and I think they are. You see, they're already talking about buying a house. They're already talking. They've been driving a car forever, while you're still trying to get a license for a car. They've been with their family from almost the time they went to that different country. So I think that for students, it's a really good life for students. You don't have much to stress about. As a worker, at least in my experience, I don't have the statistics for this again. As a worker, life is slow. Things move at a slow pace in Germany. So it's slower. You will feel that your colleagues who are somewhere else are advancing faster in life than you are. But financially, the German economy is very stable. So you'll be fine financially,
Mm.
but your life will be slow. I think that's how I can put it. I don't know if that answers the question satisfactorily.
Thank you so much. I mean, you can only say from a perspective. So, thank you. This has been greatly, insightful. Anyone considering coming to Germany, we've touched on it. Anyone considering coming to Germany, what are the next steps for them? What's the first thing? With anyone who wants to come via any of these routes, what would be the first thing you tell them to do?
If uh, if I understand your question correctly,
Yeah,
what advice I would give to somebody immigrating to Germany?
yeah,
Okay, the first shock I got when I came to Germany and something I wasn't prepared for was how secluded these people can be. Like they are not as warm as our people
Africa,
back home. So
true.
one of the things I had to learn quickly was that I have to be content with being myself. I can't
Mm,
expect that I instantly connect with people here like I connect with people when I move to new areas back in
mm,
Africa. So
mm,
prepare. There is a lot of mental fortification you need to do before you move to this country. The people don't speak English when they are communicating among themselves. So sometimes you might feel like an outsider. But
mm,
for the mental part, prepare yourself and just be resilient, build your mental fortitude. Don't
mm.
expect everybody to be smiley and chatty with you in the trains and in public, things like that.
I'm
But
smiling because I think for me, it
yeah,
now sounds funny to expect that a German will smile. I think the normal thing to expect is for them not to smile at you. But I'm smiling because also I just thought they would smile at me when I came. But now it's funny to think that a person is thinking a German will smile at them. I think for me, one of the shocks I got was that they stare a lot, and I'll be
yeah,
wondering, is there something wrong? And my husband will say, German stare, don't worry. But now
yes,
we stare at each other. So
yes. Now, what I do is I've been here for a while. I
yeah.
don't wait for them to smile at me. I don't wait for them to.
Yeah,
If I
it's
feel
fine.
like
And it's
striking
not like they
something
hate
up with
you. They
somebody,
don't
I
hate you.
just
Yeah.
I just go ahead and
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
Also,
wait for
because
them to.
Germans are very direct. They are very direct. So,
Yes,
if you,
yeah,
I mean, the fact that they're not smiling or they're not like Africans doesn't mean that they are bad people. It's just the way they
no.
are. So, but also, I'd like to say to add to that, as an African, you need community because, if you don't have community, especially in a place where you are new, you are different, and to take some time adjusting. And like what you said, you need a lot of mental fortitude. So you need your community, a community. Some people who have gone through what you are just going through, who can take you through the ways, tell you the easier way, instead of finding out all on your own. You might definitely need to find out some things on your own, but also Africans that will help you navigate. So this is really, really important community. And then thank you so much, Ren. I think my final questions would be, I think you have already said the tips. So for viewers that are watching, viewers that are trying to move to Germany through one of these, do you have any final tips? Or for anyone who is interested, any final tips?
I think this may be the most important thing I will see tonight
Yeah.
for persons who are considering coming to Germany. In my opinion, okay, if you're considering coming to Germany, then it's definitely in the future. I would
Yeah.
say this: consider the legal route to come to Germany, just like the example of visas that we've discussed here today.
Mm,
Think of applying for whatever class of visa that you qualify for. The way Germany is setting up in the near future, if you dare venture to approach this country illegally, you will have a terrible time.
mm,
You probably won't even get to the country. Remember that Germany is not a country that you get into when you directly get into Europe. You have to pass through other countries before you arrive in Germany. Germany, there is much strict control that
yes.
without the proper documentation, they won't even allow you in anymore. So I think this is a really critical point for persons who had these sorts of ideas in mind. Germany have blocked their land borders, and it's even worse that the Netherlands is doing the same. France is doing the same. Austria is doing the same. So the neighboring countries are like, we are not going to rely on the EU borders like they did in the future, in the past. Sorry, in the past, once you got into EU, you can move into any country.
Mm,
Now Germany is like, you get into EU, that is your business. If you don't have the documents that allow you into
yeah,
Germany, we are
yeah,
not going to allow you in.
yeah. I
So
saw that. Yeah.
yes. So my advice would be that if you like Germany and you're considering immigration to Germany, think of the legal routes. Be pushful enough to find information. Go to the embassy website and read whatever visa you think you qualify for, and try to apply for one of these. You stand a better chance doing that.
Mm. Okay, thank you so much. Can I also add that, so like you said, Germany, there's a lot of documentation. Germany is bureaucratic. I'm sure you have heard that a lot. And so, I mean, and things take time. So it will take time, and they are so detailed. If I can say that, they are so detailed, they will check everything. And that, like the last thing you mentioned as well, that be pushful enough. I would also like to say that try to do things on your own. I remember one of the videos that we did on, the study visa. You don't need to pay anyone, because there are people in Africa trying to pay people to come to Germany. Everything is on the website. If you have resilience and you can read, there's no reason why you should not apply yourselves. You can ask people questions and all of that, but try as much as possible to do things by yourself. And like you said, try to come in legally, guys. There's no point trying
Yeah.
to come and leave. I listened to something, I think, online on social media yesterday. No, it was you. It was you. I listened to on TikTok, yeah, where you said, a guy comes to, he works with another person's document, and because
Yes,
of
yes.
that, he's not earning, because the person's document he's using gets a percentage of the money. He also
Yes.
doesn't have accommodation,
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering
It's
why.
really, I've met a few of these of the people who enter here illegally. It's really, it's not something I'm happy to talk about. And it's hard to give this advice, because when you give out this advice, it's most often met with some sort of anger, like you've seen something good and you're not
Mm,
allowing people to do it.
mm, mm,
I've
mm.
met these guys. Somebody is begging you to that, can you give your document so they work and take 30%, so you take 70%, and they're begging you for this. Then you can imagine what lifestyle they are living. It's, well, all we can do is advise. I don't think it's something I'd be advising people to do.
Mm. But
So
I
if
think
you
for
can
me,
avoid this, it's really
I
good.
wonder, think about it. If you are going to come to suffer abroad, what's the point of coming to earn less when you can earn, the full amount of money? Why would you
Mhm.
suffer to, start trying to stay with people or be living
Yeah,
afloat,
yeah,
even if it's just a cubicle that you get for yourself by yourself? It makes more sense
yeah,
than trying to stay afloat. So why go through the degradation of yourself,
yeah, yeah.
when you can do
Why
better,
do it? And
either
the thing
home
is,
or home or abroad?
and the people who do this is not because they can't do, or they can't come by any other means. It's
Mm,
usually because they do not know that there are options that they could follow and
mm,
come easily, smoothly, and integrate into the society.
mm,
So this is an opportunity for, I hope, such information gets to these people and they are
mm,
receptive enough to digest the information and understand that it's not coming from a place of hate. It's
mm,
coming from a place of, I've seen these things and I won't wish this on my own people.
mm,
When you say this, even family is not happy to hear that You are saying, please
Yeah.
don't go through Sahara, pass through Morocco and the Mediterranean, whichever path they are taking. Don't go through this. It's risky.
Mm.
It's really risky. There are
Mm.
options that you can follow and come
Mm.
in nicely.
Yes, yes,
Boki,
yes.
you've been in Germany for long. Can you
Yes,
imagine
yes.
doing anything in Germany if you don't have documents?
No, at
There is
every single
nothing.
point, you have to just show your documents.
There is
Every
nothing.
single point.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
You can't even buy a train ticket to move from one place to the other without
Yes.
the proper
Yes.
documentations in the
Yes.
country. You can't do anything. You
Yes.
can't have a house. You can't
Yes.
you can't do anything. So
Mm. You need your document. Thank you so much, Ren. Um, I know this immigration, the topic of immigration is very passionate to you. And thank you
yeah.
for coming to share some of the insights. How have you felt being on this on the live? Has it been good?
Okay, first, I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk
Oh,
to your
thank you
followers.
for
I'm really
coming.
grateful for this. And
Thank you.
I had a good time. I thought your direction of the discussion was quite insightful. I liked it.
Thank you. You
Thank you
brought
for the opportunity. And
brought
if
insights
you
to.
don't stop me, I keep talking about this for the whole day. It's like I
You
have
know,
I
there
have
are
so
other
many things
important
that I could talk about.
parts. There are other important parts of the conversation of immigration that I would like us to dwell on. So maybe we can think of doing this again. But I think for a video, this is already a stretch, considering that also we
Yes,
also
it
started.
is. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So
Yeah.
we will think about that, talk about that, and then see what we can do from there. So
Okay.
guys, thank you so much for joining. I think there was a topic we wanted to a question we wanted to talk about, and I
Yes,
think
yes.
we already talked about it.
But I could
Uh,
say this. I think
yeah,
the question, just to say something very quickly on that. The
okay.
question was, I think it was a comment
Yeah.
that they are trying to reduce the number of persons coming from the global south.
Yeah.
I do not buy that viewpoint,
Why?
because when you talk of
Mm-hmm.
the global south goes all the way to India, China,
Mm,
and all of
it
these
includes
countries.
Indians, right? So why?
Yes, 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 it does.
Interesting.
So the global south includes all of these. I think it's not even all of Africa, because not every African country is treated like this.
Yes.
Like I
For
said, when I
instance,
went to North
the same
Africa, I
here,
was very
Ghana.
specific to
Hmm.
pick Tunisia, because I
Hmm.
know Tunisia is also treated badly in the north of Africa, or at least similar to us in the sub-Saharan region.
Hmm.
So it's not even all of Africa. It's really a country specific kind of thing. It'll be interesting to find out the true reason behind these differences that we are observing. But I don't think it's a general blacklisting of the global south. I actually don't buy that.
Okay, so I'd say good luck to finding out, some of the reasons these things are, and also, I mean, if we know a reason for a thing, we know how to avoid it or to solve the
Yeah.
problem, right?
Yes.
Even
Yes.
if on our own path.
Yes.
I'd also like to say that good luck to bringing in your family to Germany. I pray that very soon they meet with you.
Thanks,
You
Poki.
guys
Thank
have
you.
a beautiful family reunion. And thank you for coming. I want to say thank you to everyone who joined the live as well. This video will stay the on the channel. Ren, do you want to talk about your channel so that people can go there to find out more things about immigration?
Yes, yes. My channel, I also have a channel on YouTube where I delve more into these things. I try to look at, like I said at the beginning, I look at numbers. When I'm advising people don't come through the illegal route, it's not just how I feel. I really do try to look at the numbers before I talk and say the things I want to say. So
Mm,
in my channel, I really try to dive deep into these immigration issues. If you're interested in such things, even just learning about how to move and not just looking at the dark side of how badly we are treated. Yes,
mm.
I do cover such topics. The name of
Okay.
my channel is Ren with Numbers.
Yeah.
So
So
if you
I'll
come to
link
this
the
channel,
channel in the description box as well. I thought Realm with Numbers had something to do with money, to be honest. I didn't know it was more about research and all of that. So there you have it, guys. I will link his channel. You can also follow him and see, some of the information you can find some see if you can find information, and also to help people who who have some particular questions. You will find some
Yeah.
questions, some information on his channel. So please show some love over there. Thank you for joining. Thank you, everyone. We'll be ending it here today so that we don't get to 1 hour 30 minutes. Thank
Yes,
you
yes, yes.
so much. All right,
Thank you very
guys.
much, Buki.
See.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for staying with us till the end, and
Bye.
till next time. Bye bye.